Hello, and welcome to Gupta's webinar on how to move existing applications to TD 6.1 Win32 Unicode. This is your host, Martin Tietz. Before we get started, I want to review a few housekeeping items. We are known for being the first to deliver a relational database in the Unix and Windows environment. Since then, we have delivered development software products that run across different databases and platforms geared to building and modernizing business applications and to the business application developer who places a premium on productivity over low-level coding. We do encourage questions on the webinar, and the way you do that is to use the Q&A button on your WebEx toolbar. It is a button with a question mark. There's also a chat button, but it makes it easier for Farhan and I to look in one panel for the questions to make sure we address all of them. I mentioned Farhan Sheikh, who will be providing the demonstration portion today. Farhan is a very experienced TD developer, having more than 10 years experience with TD software development at Gupta Technologies and Active Data Corporation. Active Data Corporation is the company Gupta bought to expedite the release of TD.NET. It is a great opportunity and a real treat to have someone with Farhan's background and experience on team developer projects demonstrating today. And with that, I'd like to pass control to Farhan to present today's webinar.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Farhan Sheikh, and I'll be presenting the part 2 of the webinar series on upgrading your TD15 or old TD applications to TD 6.1 application. Let me first introduce myself again. My name is Farhan Sheikh, working with Gupta Technologies for the past 6 years, and actually altogether with combining the active data about 10 years. As a TD consultant, as well as working on some other Gupta technology tools and products. And recently I've been involved in a bunch of TD upgrade projects, and so I have extensive experience in upgrading TD applications, and I will try to utilize my experience and give you guys some hints and tips how to upgrade your applications in TD 6.2. So let's begin the webinar. So today we will be focusing on best practice Unicode. What we are going to focus in this webinar is basically how to deal with the Unicode issues during your application upgrade process. I will show you guys the practical examples of Tom Team Object Manager application upgrade, and I'll show you some Unicode issues and how to deal with them. This is basically the focus of our webinar today. So the agenda for today's webinar, I'm going to give you guys a quick recap of our previous webinar. I don't know how many people have seen the webinar, previous webinar, or they joined it, but it's also on our website, and I'll give you guys the link also later in the next couple of slides. So I'll give you guys a recap, then we'll show you that moving existing app to Unicode compliance or compatibility is not actually too hard. We'll go over Tom and Unicode issues, direct update path, adjusting for Unicode. Direct update path means not doing anything, just migrating your application and not adjusting anything for Unicode. So I'll show you the two different things, what can happen while using the direct path or adjusting for Unicode, and what are the situations where you need to adjust Unicode or not. Other consideration, we'll go over some of the file output issues in regards to Unicode. Tom and Unicode is a difficult case, and so I'll show you how I resolved some of the issues that I faced in Unicode compliance. And then we'll do the conclusion, some Q&A, and all. So part 1 webinar recap. The reason why I'm doing the quick recap is just to show you, remind you guys that we had already migrated Tom from TD15 to TD61 in Win32 compiler mode using Dutch file. I showed you guys important information about path setting. If you have multiple TD versions installed on your machine, make sure that you set the correct path so it picks up the current version of TD, DLLs, and APLs. And I replaced all the SQL WNTM DLL with SQL WNTM 10 DLL. Just a quick reminder, since TD61 we have renamed SQL WNTM DLL to SQL WNTM 10 DLL. The reason we did that was because we kept using the same SQL WNTM DLL name for the past 10 years or so, and it got confused that people would install the older version of SQL WNTM DLL, or they didn't know which version needs to be used. So we decided to rename it to SQL WNTM 10 DLL from 6 and onward. I checked all the TD outline code and replaced all my DLL ending with 15 DLL to 61 DLL. I used a text editor, so I had to do find and replace. But if you guys are using Migration Wizard, you would not have to do that. But it's still I would recommend you guys to, once you use the Migration Wizard, just make sure your DLL names are replaced to the current DLL name. I demoed TD151 Tom features, just like I showed you guys, quick check-in, check-out, and class browser functionality and all. And after I used my batch file, I did not modify anything in Tom. So basically, after upgrading it to 6.1, we haven't done any modification to our application yet. That we're going to do it in this webinar. Demo TD61 Tom basic features. After upgrading it to TD6, I showed you guys some basic features like check-in, check-out, database hierarchy and class hierarchy, all those things. I demoed it to you guys. And just if you need to know where that that webinar is archived, I am giving you guys the web link here, so you can go back and check it out if you haven't checked out yet. So moving on to our webinar topic today. So moving existing apps to Unicode is actually not too hard. There are a few facts that you need to know. Team developer APLs already updated for Unicode support. So all the VT and cell code functions are already Unicode compliant. So don't need to worry about those. SQL access, totally transparent in TD concerning Unicode. So basically database access, no problem. It's already fully Unicode compliant. So moving back and forth data from your database is you don't need to worry about. We have updated our DLLs and APLs to comply with Unicode. So what I would say is full Unicode support is only needed for people wishing to mix international characters. So if you have a Chinese or Japanese character that you are using or mixing it in your application, then you would probably need to work on your Unicode functions and look at all those functions and make sure you adjust to it. Now, after that, I have divided the applications into 3 different categories. So your application can fall into one of those categories. It could be an easy case. If you have no external function calls using a string or string, then your application is easy to convert. No Unicode issue. You guaranteed you won't have any issues. But does such application exist? Such simple applications, maybe, but I haven't seen many that don't use external function calls or other third-party DLL calls. Then we have a medium case. Within that, I have categorized into simpler and harder case. So for simpler case, it's not mandatory to fully update a TD application to Unicode. TD can transcode externals to and from Unicode and C form for pass and receive strings. So as I told you, TD does the job for you. So please don't modify the code to use Unicode. Let the TD do the job for you. So TD is fully compliant, is fully aware all its functions. So let it do it for you. Harder case, if you like to update fully to Unicode, so to mix international characters, you will be fully in charge to identify the place of update and make sure memory allocated for received strings are correct. So if you don't allocate the memory correctly in the buffer, then you'll have all sorts of memory corruption errors and memory leak errors. So this is only for people who want to mix international characters. And there is a hard case. Of course, Tom falls into the hard case, where Tom is using externals with H strings to a C++ link to our runtime. So I don't know if people remember, but in the previous webinar, I showed you guys that the C developers have linked back to the cell or TD DLL. So they are linking back to DLL. So and then back from C, they are calling the DLL of TD. So they're moving data back and forth from C code. Or if you use undocumented functions calls like cell outline. So again, Tom is some of the tools in Tom falls into hard category where they are using the C linked back to TD DLLs, as well as they are using undocumented functions like cell outline. So I don't know, maybe not many people would be doing that, because cell outline is actually undocumented function, and since Tom is being written by internally TD developers, so they took the liberty to use cell outline functions, but I don't think many people are using it. But anyway, this is a hard case that we are dealing with. So Tom and Unicode. Tom update seen previously uses a direct update path to Unicode. So again, the basic, what I'm trying to say here is direct path is when I'm not adjusting to Unicode. All I did was just migrate my application to TD61 and haven't changed anything. I didn't go blindly and change all the data types or variables from LPSTR to LPWSTR, which is a Unicode data type variable. So all external using strings were kept as ANSI type, so I haven't changed anything. No changes were done using Unicode wide character. As I said, I didn't do any changes. All we did was upgrade our application. So Tom, in this condition, is Unicode fully aware in all its user code cell VT. So in regards to cell and VT code, Tom is fully compliant with Unicode, since cell and VT code is already being updated by team developer. But not in external calls to Win API or third-party calls. But when we are talking about calling or backing or moving data back and forth from Win API calls or third-party DLLs, really Tom is not fully compliant with Unicode, because we don't know what Win API needs and what it needs to pass and back and forth. Same thing for the third-party DLL. So let's test Tom update to 6 to see how it performs and see how well TD can auto-convert to and from Unicode in its external functions calls. So let's see the course source. So this is the Tom main application. As I told you guys, I have not changed anything. All I did was migrate my application from TD15 to TD62. And question here would be, since I have not changed any variables, data types to LP STR to LPWSTR, would I find any LPWSTR? Yes, I will. Even though I did not change anything in the application, but as you can see, the ODB cell 32, which is the database DLL, TD DLL, our developers have already changed our DLLs. So this is to connect to the database. So those functions we have already modified, so you don't need to worry about those internal functions. This was just to show you that our DLLs are already Unicode compliant. Okay, so let's see how the Tom performs without making any changes. All we did was upgrade it to TD62 from TD15. See how it performs in relation to in terms of Unicode characters and all. So I have some Chinese and Japanese characters here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my upgraded app. If you remember, I upgraded Tom app on March 12th in the webinar. I just checked out one of the files, and I can open it from Tom. And what I do is I'll just modify this app and use some Unicode characters, Japanese, Chinese, I don't know which ones, but I will save it. And second, and let's check out again and see if Tom, without any modifications using the direct path, can handle this. See, it was able to handle it. So we checked in and checked out the Japanese, or I don't know, Chinese characters in Tom, and Tom was able to save it and retrieve it. Okay, so let's go back. So it looks like it is performing pretty well. So direct paths, as I said, we did not modify anything in Tom. As you could have seen, the date for Tom executable was from March, I think 12 or 13, when we migrated live in front of you guys a Tom application. So our update to Tom without taking care of Unicode seems to function properly. But this does not mean that Tom doesn't have any Unicode issues. As I said, we have chosen for a direct path, relying on TD auto conversion feature. We still have to fully test QA the functionality of Tom. So this is just a best practice. I mean, whenever you upgrade or migrate your application, you have to do the full testing and QA testing of all the functionality of your application to make sure everything is intact, nothing is broken, and everything works as it's supposed to work. So I did some testing and found out some of the issues that were related to Unicode. So if we would have used a non-direct path, that basically if we would have not, if I would have gone to the application and blindly changed all the LP, STR, and car variables to LP WSTR and W car underscore T variables, we would have to really review all the code and externals and updates to DLLs because it concerns the memory once you do that. So let me show you while testing what I found where the issues were in relates to Unicode. Let me demo that, and we'll fix that after that. So while testing, data models, so I have found some issues that we are going to fix it right now. So while testing, I saw that this is what I'm doing is I'm going to a database model and going to a product table, and I'm trying to change the data type of that table. One of the columns is style ID, and I wanted to change the data type. But as you can see, I don't. The data type is being truncated. I don't see like car or date. So there's some issue with Unicode. So I did the testing and found out that this is a problem here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix that problem. So this is how you will do the testing, and then you find the issue, and then you fix it. So I showed you the issue that I found while testing. So I checked where the code is for that particular form, and I found out that this was in basically DM APL, which is basically an APD, which DLL. So let's go and fix it. So what I had to do was change my non-Unicode variable type to Unicode variable type, and all the car array to byte character array. Then I save it. Back to my APL, refresh it, and I recreate the DLL. So I'll show you that I recreated the DLL just right now for 18, and I'm sure that everybody knows what APD is. It's kind of a DLL for specific to team developer, just to make it simple. So it's going to pick up the new APD, new DLL in other terms. As you can see, I fixed my problem. Now you can see that the data type coming from the data columns are correct, and they are not truncated. So this is just a simple case where I had to basically change the types, variable types to LPWSCR, which is the Unicode But once this is done, you are supposed to change these functions, cell set buffer, which is a deprecated function called, and we have a new function that is cell set buffer length, and make sure the allocated space is right as shown on the right. As you can see, that's what you are supposed to do if you are receiving or setting a string. You have to change it to this function, and as you see that in the previous function, this deprecated function, cell set buffer length, this function was actually doubling it the size internally. And now it's a Unicode compliance, so you have to make sure that the size is set correctly. Otherwise, you'll have memory allocation problems. In our demo, we'll keep the deprecated because it doubles buffer size, and this is correct. So in our demo, what I showed you, I didn't go and change the buffer size or the functions, because when I looked at the code, it is doing what it's supposed to do. So I didn't need to go and change it. Again, this is from the experience and from testing. That's what needs to be. That's what's required. So, I'd already showed you the test changes that it's working now. So let's move to the next slide. Two very important functions that we give you guys. One is cell str2 multibyte, and the other one is cell string to byte character. Cell str2 multibyte converts your Unicode UTF 16 string buffer to NC using current local, and any valid code page can be given in the third parameter of the function. So if you see Chinese or some foreign character, you can retrieve them in TD by using the right code page and using the cell str2 multibyte and cell str2 byte character functions. Again, the cell str2 byte character does convert NC string buffer using the current local to Unicode UTF, and again, any valid code page can be given in third parameter. You can go in help, file help, and check these functions out. Cell file open. Off text, if you open it file using off text, then file is opened as NC for input output, but while inside the TD it's been saved as UTF, and it does all its work as UTF, and when you save it back, it translates it back to NC. Input output UTF-8 is for UTF-8 files. Of course, for binary, there's no transcoding needed. Tom and Unicode, the difficult case. Tom uses 3 external DLLs, TM-UTI-62 DLLs, which handles import, export, and check-in, check-out, converting binary to pseudo hexa sort of base 64 code. So all binary code is converted by TD algorithms, just like base 64 encoding, because here I'm dealing only with NC, because TD automatically converts. It takes care of the conversion. So this DLL can stay in NC again thanks to TD auto conversion. Because Tom does not need to know for these operations, we have a binary or a string buffer. as the binary gets encoded to string. So another DLL, or that's being used for graphical browser tool. It's a custom control DLL used by graphical browser. Basically, we consider this as a third-party DLL, and we don't have the source code for that. But as it is, it's an ANSI implementation. Everything seems to work thanks to TD auto conversion for function calls. TM-diff62 is another tool that Tom uses, which is basically a diff tool. It is also an external tool within Tom. The problem here is it uses undocumented cell outline functions, and these calls don't have TD ASCII2 support and TD62. So if I show you, this is Centura Edge, which is internal to a header file of Centura functions. So if I look at cell out, you will see that we don't have all the cell outline item functions here defined, because these are not, these functions are undocumented and not exposed outside. But if you see all the other functions that are exposed, they are in the header file. So here's the DLL must be fully migrated to Unicode. So what we did was in TD62, our developer went in Centura Edge file, and he had to basically not Edge file, but actually in this DLL, MDF DLL, he had to modify the DLL to make it Unicode compliant. If you want to know more about the TD ASCII macro, that you can see the documentation here in samples folder. So let's look at the demo in our updated TD-DFI62 DLL. Again, I told you that this DLL got updated by Centura developers or team developer developers, and this DLL was written in C++. So we'll look at the updated DLL. So let me first demo it, show you the problem that I faced, and then how I fixed it. So it's a diff tool. It compares two files and shows you the difference between two files. See, it's not being able to load those files that are in APT or binary mode. So that's a problem. So I had to do the research and find out where the problem is, where the load of those files are happening. So, and you can see it's writing all the chunk here. The comparison to two files. So let's fix this. Again, I'm going to change the non-Unicode variable to the Unicode compliant variable. Right. So let's fix it. So you can see these are the calls that are made from TMTD tool APL, and we are making calls to TMD FI62 DLL, which got updated by Gupta developers to comply with the Unicode. So the DLL is compliant, but now we have to make our calls to the DLL compliant. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and replace all the parameters. Now I replaced it. Save it. Application. This is the tool. So make sure I got refreshed and rebuild this tool again. So now you see we have modified the parameters to new Unicode variable. So we created an executable. Let's see if we fix the problem or not. As you can see now, it was able to handle the Unicode data transmitting back and forth from the files, from the APT files. So we fixed the problem here. Let's go back to this is okay. So we fixed it easy. We tested it. We had some issues. So we changed the variable type to LP WSTR. Conclusion: using a direct path using TD auto conversion to and from Unicode, NC allows us to quickly update any application with very good result. So even if we do the direct path, I mean 80 to 90 to 95% of the applications seem to be working. The only reason we had some issues were because we had external calls, API calls, and third-party DLL calls. So that's where we needed to do some adjustments. So anyway, application needs to be tested fully. Allows to use NC third-party DLL without the need of source, as long as it's not linked to. So if it's not linked to your TD runtime, your DLL, then 99% of the time the DLL should work without doing the Unicode compliance. Okay, converting fully to Unicode again. I would not recommend this to just go and blindly change all your LPSTR to LPWSTR variables and car arrays, because it's really dangerous. You should know what you are doing, what you are dealing with, because then if you do that, then you are totally in charge of sizing the buffer of receive a string and much more issues. But in some cases, as you saw, it is unavoidable. So your app needs to get updated to support Unicode. Again, if you do Unicode fully Unicode compliant, you still need to do full testing, QA testing, as you do with direct path. The only advantage is not having any conversion being done, and in some specific places this can be advantage for performance, like external calls in a loop receiving string. So if you are receiving a string, then it is advantageous to have the Unicode, not having conversion, so just use it, the new function. I think that's about it. Thank you. I guess we'll start questions session. If you have any questions, Martin.
Thank you, Farhan. That is an impressive example of a complicated application to move to Unicode, and it actually doesn't look too complicated. So if you have questions, please put them in the WebEx Q&A tool, and we will be answering them for you. And by the way, the Team Developer 6.2 that will be released soon will include Team Object Manager 6.2 based on the work that we have done here to migrate the application to 6.1. So looks like there are no questions. And I would like to thank everybody for joining us today, and also thank again Farhan for doing a great presentation on this. And we wish you a great time. Look, every once in a while, check out if the new TD 6.2 is available in the coming weeks. And we are looking forward to talk to you soon again. Thank you and goodbye.